Hi. This video is not for everyone. It's taken me a while to put it out there. There are people in the world that would prefer no news to bad news or negative news, but that's not me, and I hope that that's not you. If it is, just delete. Knowledge is power. I've always found that to be true. And truth is freedom. Do we ever have the whole truth? I don't know, but I've been on a search for truth all my life. And recently I've uncovered some pretty serious truth that I feel really responsible for sharing with people that, unfortunately, people that I believe will have the wherewithal to grasp the information, because it's heavy information and it's deep. It's about how we're going to choose to live and possibly how we're going to die. Why this video? You might be one of the people that I've contacted in the last few weeks, either by text or email or by phone. I've been frantic to talk to someone. I've carried this heavy weight forever. So I chose you and specific people that I thought would have the emotional, spiritual, and mental ability to understand what I have to say. And my goal is really threefold. One would be to pass on the information to you and let you do with it what you want. Two is to gather a consensus for the information that I'm sharing. What do you think? Do you know more? To get a plan. And three, to get a plan. To figure out, at least, if nothing else, we're powerful creatures, and our words are more powerful, our prayers are more powerful, our thoughts are all powerful. Our thoughts are creative energy, and I've never believed that like I do today. And so if we could gather together and pray and believe for a different result than what's I'm going to share with you, maybe that would be enough reason for you to get through this video with me. I'm going to try and make it short. I'm already a lot longer than I thought. To a hammer, everything is a nail, and likewise, I have a hard time understanding why anyone would not want to have this information. But that's me. I'm a hammer. It's important to make decisions about handling our future, keeping the big picture in mind, and most importantly, our children and theirs. Decades of death experience taught me that what we really fear is the unknown. Given truth, we can handle just about anything. It's when we have to wonder, when we've been deceived, that we really have a problem. When we make decisions or don't make any decisions at all based on either bad information or no information. It's like Uncle Arthur always said, there's only one thing worse than bad eggs, labeled bad eggs. And that's bad eggs, labeled good eggs, right? Yuck. So a few times I've attempted to make this video and I beat around the bush so much that I just keep postponing it. But today's my live day, June 12th. And June 6 and 12 equals what? 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. That's a big number. So where do I start? In past videos, I've attempted to share first with why me? How did I figure this out? But I realize that you're not interested in me personally or where I've been or why I got this. But I think that it's conducive to your understanding to see how I uncovered this information and the impetus for the project and the surprise that I uncovered. Finally, the world around me is finally beginning to make sense. I don't like it any better, but it's beginning to fit together. Things are beginning to gel and reconcile. Old buildings, things that we thought that weren't true. All kinds of things. Once you get a little truth, the lights come on. I've had many revelations through my research. The Bible is nothing but manipulation. It was intended that way from the beginning. I don't care if you believe me. I'm sure that given a little time, I'd have no problem proving that to you, but that's not the issue today. Figuring out what they did with the Bible made me sick at my stomach, and the depression that followed caused me to seek every remedy in the world. I went through Amen Clinic to have my head examined, for gosh sakes. Yeah, I was desperate. I felt like I had lost my Savior and my country all in a couple months. Anyway, sometimes I do think I'm crazy. This news is so difficult that I would prefer that people think I'm crazy if that would be an option. Some of you will think I'm crazy anyway. Above all, I'm obedient to the Spirit of God within me. This obedience has served me better than anything else over the years. And so I'm not about to stop now. Uncovering important information, cautioning me, directing me. This intuition or the Spirit of God in me has never let me down. I've never felt such an anointed call, and yet this is the last call I would ever want to get. To set the stage, January 6, 2021, I attended D.C. for no other purpose but to show support for a man, Trump, that went against the status quo on our behalf. That was my perception then. Today, my perspective is a little different. But from early that morning until late that evening, I scooted independently in and out of the crowds around the Capitol. I was next to the doors, right by the bleachers. I watched guards open the doors and just about usher people in. I would have gone in too, except that I knew I had to get back to my sister. Returning to the hotel, my mouth fell open when I watched TV. The biggest coup of a lifetime had taken place right beneath my nose. There wasn't anything I could do to set the record straight. I just watched as the liars lied. That day changed my life forever. I came home determined to research, as though I was in college and this was my thesis. Now, I have what doctors say is a very serious, challenging case of ADD. The good news is that when I'm passionate about something, I hyper-focus and I don't ever let go. Well, I didn't let go for over 2.5 years of research, and that's how I arrived at this place. There's so much more to this story, but I'm trying to stick to the Reader's Digest version. I'll answer any questions, and I plan to continue my detail research online. I'm currently on YouTube under CSR Truth Sleuth, or Sleuth for Truth, I'm not sure. I have a running list of videos that will support pretty clearly everything I'm saying, with links and some documents. I'm more than happy and welcome to answer any questions. Although I'm a novice, I know where to get answers, and there is so much to share. Right now, I need to get to the point. Do you know what the great year is? Every religion throughout history, every culture recorded some type of a flood or a catastrophe. The history that we've been given is really corrupted, beginning with the Bible, which was nothing but manipulation. It was intended by the people who put it together to keep you and I acting like sheep, to keep you and I believing we are unworthy, and more than anything, to keep us from understanding physics and science and astrology, or we would have maybe figured all this out. They've done a good job. Their manipulation worked very well. I'm sorry if this upsets you. It makes me furiously angry. I've known for some time, and I continue to find confirmation day after day that it was nothing but a hoax. This is not easy for me. It won't be easy for you. But hey, who said life was supposed to be easy? If you stay until the end, I have some encouraging thoughts. I've been carrying this information by myself for some time, and it is very heavy. I've had to continue to remind myself of the power that lives within each of us. My prayer is that the people that are supposed to will hear this call, will mount up with wings as eagles, and join me in being available to the Master Maker as the new Earth Age is at hand. Part of me wanted to run off to the woods and hike for the rest of my life and ignore everything. I still have no earthly idea how to share this information with my grandchildren. And the situation with my son is heartbreaking. On top of it, my husband is not supportive. He prefers comfort to truth. And he's a paramedic firefighter, a first responder. That really bothers me. Neither he nor any of his crew has any idea of the cyclical nature of the planet we live on. It's so infuriating that people choose to put their heads in the sand. What can we do? Plenty. We can gather consensus. We can add information for each other and share information that we'll never get from the media. We can ask better questions. Two heads are better than one. We can pray. I've been more convicted about the power of our words, the energy within each of them, that creative vibration that created everything is in us, is in you and me. Collectively, I can't imagine what power we might have to change even a cyclical event that might seem impossible. At the very least, we can communicate and have conversation, and it might find us better information about where we want to be and how much we want to know, and how we want to govern our lives. I'm not afraid, but I am lonely in this. That's not the purpose for the video. I would just as soon keep it in or be called crazy as all this be true. But I'm afraid it is. There's too much proof. Here is a list of experts I know that I follow. I've been in communication with two of them personally. Randall Carlson has been tasked with coming up with a solution for us. We need to keep him in our prayers in a big way. I'll be seeing him this weekend, and I've signed up to help them. I met with Doug Vaught a few weeks ago. His research is the research that's been ongoing for 40 years. NASA gives him credit for personally uncovering the Moses Code, which gives us the time of the great year, the cyclical nature of time through the Torah. I've got some very compelling visuals that will help you understand. There's one that Randall recently completed that is very compelling, showing every catastrophe since the beginning of man, about 160,000 years ago. He shows how we are exactly on target for the next event. 2046 is the year, so we don't have much time. However, it looks from experts like we're ahead of time, as evidenced by the crazy weather, the auroras, the CMEs, the sun spots, etc., etc. The government has known that our sun novaed and that our planet reverses poles every 25,920 years. It's been that way for a long time. And if you look at our land using Google Maps, using all the satellites that are out there, it's easy to see where and how each of these cataclysms or catastrophes affected the earth that we live on. The government has known since the 1940s, around there, and determined to keep it quiet and keep it to themselves. They went all out. They all have bunkers, from what I understand. I've seen some of them. They changed at that time the educational books, the history books, the music was even changed. And then, COVID ordeal was part of their end time strategy. Those, they've got bunkers already and were recently given cell phones. I don't quite understand that, except that I have read there's a cell tower that they should be able to communicate with if all else fails. The biggest concern for me is that as the sun continues to give off these solar flares, they just kind of blossom and shoot off. And if they're looking at the Earth's side, then we get lots of catastrophes, the biggest of which would be losing our electric grid. The last time the CMEs were like this, they lost the telegraph system. We have so many more wires and everything today. And just one good release from the sun and we would lose everything: water, cell towers, electric, sewer, everything. And from what I understand, there is a 30-minute from the time, because there's such a big expanse in time, by the time that we know something's coming that will be devastating, we have about 30 minutes. So why wouldn't we have a plan? I just don't understand. Okay, so everything in the universe is made of numbers, shapes, sounds, and vibrations. This might be difficult to grasp. I had an easier time. It kind of all came together for me because in the 60s, late 60s, I took data processing. And I would put little holes in cards, put the card in a big machine, and this big machine would know to press out an address or whatever I told it to do with the code. And so this code information was a whole, and it talked, and the computer knew what to do. And so that kind of helped me make sense of it all. And the music. I found a music book that showed that notes are numbers and they have shape and they're torior. I can never say the word, but basically that means they're kind of like a slinky or a net in their function. Everything is so much different than what we see it to be. So I'm trying to just hit the top of everything. So when sharing my research on religion and spirituality, I can tell you that every man religion has found the key in some way through some code. The Sumerians passed it on to us. And the Sumerians, I had a crazy dream and saw the whole Mesopotamian. I had no clue who they were, but God was preparing me. They left it for us in the Sumerian king list, and you'll see that I've got a picture of it. The Mayans left it, and you'll see that. The Kali Yuga, the Vedas, the Torah. There were codes left everywhere for us to find. The Bible is nothing more than a mystery book of codes that pass down generic, ancient information applicable to mankind. And every culture has tried to write their own. And so it's necessary to go back to the Sumerians who had the cuneiform writing, and that's where good place to begin. Although they say the Vedas may be older. Okay, so all of them left codes for us to understand and expect the cycles of the great year. It's very complicated. I'm going to attach a video that I think is the simplest I've found. You've got to sit through the whole thing for it to connect. But basically, our whole universe goes through cyclical stages called Earth Ages or the Great Year. This is centered all around astrology, which was the first form of spirituality or connection that Earth had with time, space, stars. And Abraham used astrology, as did all the other cultures. That's why we see all the monoliths and the buildings, and everything's built on a vibrational path, and it's all focused on seeing what time of year it was so they could continue to calculate the great year cycle. Part of it. Okay, so the cycles are based on astronomy, astrology, numerology, geometry, sound. The first Earth Age was Taurus, and we're currently ushering in the age of Aquarius. We're in the cusp of that happening. That's why the weather is crazy. You can see from one of the pictures I'll show you that there have been over 16 catastrophic events since 160,000 years ago, when we know man like you and I existed. We know that based on this chart, the charts and the calculations and the numerology of everything, that we have a couple years left. At the most, well, I'm not going to say at the most, but 2046 is the year they say, and we're really stepped up according to experts. Time, it might be much sooner based on all the signs all over the world. What does this mean? That short of prayer, knowledge, and truth, there's not much we can do to prevent what Earth ages do or don't do. And at least we know that it's not about us and what climate change was all about, what another hoax. Everything, nothing is as it seems. There's so much more. Since the news broke, information will be coming out from other experts, I'm sure. Unfortunately, the top experts I've been following for some time are not being very good with sharing. So it's not been easy to get a comprehensive picture so far, but all the alien stuff, everything that's going on, there's so many things happening right now that it's easy to get distracted, but what's more important than life itself? I don't want to die in a cave, and I don't want to die near water. There are some things kind of in our control. Most importantly, it's time to make the most of every minute we have left and to truly live like we're dying. It's easy to see that man is the standard and has been the standard for everything in the universe. Our brains are perfect pictures of the universe, the numbers, the shapes, the whole Christ, what people think is Jesus, was nothing more than ancient information about you and me, our body, our numbers, our sounds, our words, our power, and the anointing that's in our pineal gland, just waiting for us to take control and use it through breathing and other very simple things. I think God put everything we'll ever need right here for us. Every medicine in the plants, it's just been stolen by some evil people. Not much we can do about that, and hey, maybe God used them to usher in this time, or we certainly would not be ready for it. But AI and China and Russia and Ukraine and the economy and COVID and all that helps us get ready. Maybe that's what it's about. One way that we can make a difference is by learning for the first time who we are. We're not sheep, but incredible, magical light carriers, perfectly reconciled in the image of the Master Maker. Thanks for listening.